The courtroom fell silent as the judge signed the final divorce papers. After 12 years of marriage, it was over. Daniel didn't argue. He didn't cry. He simply picked up the envelope, thanked his lawyer, and started walking toward the exit. Then the courtroom doors burst open. A woman rushed inside, breathing heavily. "Wait, please. Don't let him leave." Everyone turned. Even the judge looked surprised. Daniel froze. It was his ex-wife, Emily. Just 3 minutes earlier, she had officially ended their marriage. Now she looked terrified. Her makeup was ruined by tears. Her hands were shaking. She looked nothing like the confident woman who had demanded the divorce only moments ago. The room became completely silent. Emily looked directly at Daniel. "I made the biggest mistake of my life." Daniel didn't answer. For 6 months, she had ignored his calls. She had moved out. She had taken most of the savings. She had told everyone that Daniel was the reason their marriage failed. And now she wanted him to stop walking away. The judge cleared his throat. "Mrs. Carter, the divorce has already been finalized." Emily slowly nodded. "I know." She swallowed hard before saying something nobody expected. "But there's something Daniel doesn't know." Daniel frowned. "What are you talking about?" Emily looked at the floor. "I lied," the courtroom gasped. Daniel's lawyer immediately stood up. "What exactly did you lie about?" Emily closed her eyes. "I wasn't leaving because I stopped loving him." Daniel's heart started racing. "Then why?" Emily couldn't answer. Instead, she reached into her purse. She pulled out a thick medical folder. She placed it on the judge's desk. Daniel noticed the hospital logo. His stomach dropped. "What is that?" Emily whispered. "My medical records." Daniel slowly opened the folder. The first page changed everything. It wasn't about another man. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about betrayal. It was a diagnosis. A rare heart condition. Life-threatening. Doctors had estimated she might have less than a year to live if surgery failed. Daniel looked back at Emily in complete disbelief. You were sick." She nodded through tears. "I found out 7 months ago." Daniel remembered that month perfectly. That was exactly when Emily suddenly became cold. She stopped smiling. She avoided conversations. She insisted on sleeping in the guest room. Then she asked for a divorce. "I thought if I stayed with you," Emily whispered, "you'd spend the rest of your life watching me die." Daniel couldn't believe what he was hearing. "So you divorced me to protect me?" Emily nodded. "I wanted you to hate me. I wanted it to be easier for you to move on." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. "For months, I thought you cheated." Emily shook her head. "I let you believe that because it hurt less than watching you suffer." The courtroom was silent. Even the judge looked emotional. Daniel slowly sat back down. For the first time since the divorce began, he wasn't angry anymore. But then Emily said one final sentence that made everyone in the courtroom freeze. "The surgery is tomorrow morning, and there's only a 20% chance I'll survive." Daniel felt like the air had disappeared from the courtroom. He stared at Emily, unable to process what he had just heard. A 20% chance. That was all. 12 years of marriage. And she had carried this burden alone. "You should have told me," Daniel whispered. Emily wiped away another tear. "I wanted you to remember me smiling, not lying in a hospital bed." Daniel clenched his fists. "You don't get to make that decision for me." Emily looked away. "I know." For several seconds, nobody spoke. Finally, the judge quietly stood. "My work here is finished," he said softly. "But as a husband, or even as a human being, I tell you not to waste another minute." Daniel didn't hesitate. He grabbed Emily's hand. "Let's go." The hospital next morning, Daniel refused to leave Emily's side. The nurses assumed they were happily married. Neither of them corrected anyone. As Emily was being prepared for surgery, she smiled weakly. "I guess this is our second first date." Daniel laughed through tears. "You still make terrible jokes." She squeezed his hand. I was always scared of dying. She shook her head. No, I was scared you'd stop loving me after seeing me so weak. Daniel looked directly into her eyes. Emily, I never stopped loving you. She burst into tears for the first time in months. They hugged, not as ex-husband and ex-wife, but as to people who had finally stopped hiding. An unexpected visitor just before the surgeons wheeled Emily toward the operating room. A doctor hurried down the hallway. Mr. Carter, yes, we need to speak privately. Daniel's heart sank. Is something wrong? The doctor nodded. We've reviewed the latest scans. Daniel felt his knees weaken. The condition has become worse. The surgery is much riskier than we expected. Daniel looked through the operating room window. Emily was smiling at him. She had no idea. The doctor placed a consent form in Daniel's hands. If complications occur, someone will have to make the final decision. Daniel could barely hold the pen. 8 hours later, every second felt like an hour. Daniel didn't eat. He didn't answer his phone. He simply waited. Finally, the operating room doors opened. The surgeon slowly removed his mask. Daniel stood up immediately. Doctor, the surgeon smiled. It was one of the hardest surgeries we've ever performed. Daniel couldn't breathe. But she's alive. Daniel collapsed into a chair, not because he was weak, because relief hit him all at once. 3 months later, Emily recovered faster than anyone expected. Physical therapy wasn't easy. Some days she wanted to quit. Daniel never let her. Every morning he reminded her, we survived worse. One afternoon they returned to the same courthouse. The receptionist recognized them immediately. She looked confused. I thought. Daniel smiled. You finalized our divorce. Emily laughed. And today, we're getting married again. The entire office applauded. Even the judge who had signed their divorce papers came outside. I've seen thousands of divorces, he said. But I've never seen two people choose each other twice. One final surprise months after their second wedding, Daniel found a small gift box on the kitchen table. Inside was a tiny pair of baby shoes. He looked at Emily in complete shock. She smiled. I wanted to wait until the doctors confirmed everything. Daniel whispered, You're pregnant. Emily nodded. After years of heartbreak. After believing they had lost everything. Life had given them one more miracle. Daniel hugged her tightly. This time, neither of them let go. Ending message. Sometimes love doesn't end because people stop caring. Sometimes it ends because fear speaks louder than love.